Hi, T. Carlson here, and Sony's at it again, going into their back catalog and giving some older titles 4K releases. One of the latest to get this treatment is Matilda, which was released in 1996 and of course is based on the classic novel by Roald Dahl. I'm going to unbox this release and share my opinion. They give us a nice Steelbook package there, and I do like that cover art, very bright and vibrant, showing off many of the characters and elements from the film. There's our spine. There's the back of the slipcover. Under the backing card, you've got the side of the school with Miss Trunchbull keeping everyone at attention. That looks very nice. Inside the package, we do have our digital code of the film. We have two discs in here, a 4K disc and a Blu-ray disc. So I'm glad to see Sony is still including both in their packages. A lot of studios are kind of shying away from this, and I'm not a fan of that. Here's what you get in the slipcover. Again, more photos of various elements and characters from the film. I do like this sort of pop art style that they went with here. It suits the film pretty well. Here we have our Blu-ray disc of the film, which also includes the bulk of the bonus features. And then we have our 4K disc of the film, and the art on that is very nice as well. I'm going to read the description of the film as follows from the backing card. From best-selling author Roald Dahl and the unique vision of Danny DeVito comes Matilda, the beloved modern-day fairy tale mixing humor with a magical message of love. Mrs. Doubtfire's Mara Wilson stars as Matilda, a super smart little girl who's woefully misunderstood by her parents, Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman, her brother, and an evil school principal. But with the help of a brave best friend and a wonderful teacher, Matilda discovers she doesn't have to get mad to get even. The books of Roald Dahl have long been fodder for Hollywood, and it's no surprise to see a lot of these movies coming out that are based on his books. To this day, they're still being adapted. Some of the most famous books that have been adapted include Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, James and the Giant Peach, The Witches, The BFG, and countless others. Dahl even wrote the screenplays for several films over the years, including the James Bond movie, You Only Live Twice. So the guy certainly got around during his life, and he created some of the most classic examples of children's literature that there are. Matilda was one of his later works, and of course this movie didn't come out until probably about 6 years or so after he had passed away, but even though it does make some changes to the original novel, I can't really speak for how accurate this is to the source material. It does certainly convey the mood that Roald Dahl always tried to get across in his books. He always had stuff that was certainly appropriate for kids and kept them interested, but there's always a bit of, darker material, some darker humor in there. And Matilda, I think, is perhaps one of the best examples of that. Legendary actor Danny DeVito not only stars in the film as Matilda's abusive father, he also narrates the film and directs it as well, with his wife, Matilda's mother, being portrayed by his then real-life wife, Rhea Perlman. Matilda herself is portrayed by Mara Wilson. This young lady showed up in a lot of movies in the 90s, and she was always just, a delight to watch. She was always so good in whatever she did. Of course, once she got to adulthood, she largely disappeared from the spotlight, although I did look her up online, and it looks like she is still active to some extent on a smaller scale, but I am glad to see she hasn't left behind the world of entertainment altogether. The movie is one of those interesting situations that depicts very abusive and negligent parents and a principal who's not a whole lot better. These characters, even though these situations would be seen as much more grotesque and inappropriate for a children's film under other circumstances, are done here in a comically over-the-top fashion, so when they get their comeuppance, it's certainly deserved. But the movie never quite feels like it's inappropriate for kids, so it is that nice balance, a nice family film that really is for the whole family. And of course, later in the film, as Matilda starts to realize where she is and what she has to do, she discovers that she has a certain power that she can try to use to help her friends and help herself. I mean, the movie almost kind of feels like a mashup of Home Alone and Carrie. And surprisingly, it works. It's a pretty unique feeling film, and of course, Roald Dahl had a style all his own, and I do think that despite some changes from the original book, this is a good adaptation of the story and an oft-overlooked film. It did get pretty positive reviews at the time of release. Unfortunately, it didn't do too good at the box office due to a lot of competition and the like. That's a shame because it is quite the solid film. Sony's been doing a pretty good job bringing their back catalog titles to 4K and doing them justice. I'm happy to say that Matilda is no exception. A lot of this movie has a very bright, vibrant look about it with some of the settings and clothing worn by characters and other items that show up. And I'm happy to say that the 4K transfer here reflects that very well. This does include Dolby Vision, so you do get that nice little extra punch, giving it the edge over a Blu-ray version of the movie. And I'm happy to say that if you are a longtime fan of Matilda, I think you'll be happy with what you see here. This does include the Blu-ray copy of the film, although I don't know if that's like a new Blu-ray or if it's just identical to the older one. I've never actually owned Matilda on home video prior to this, so I don't have the older Blu-ray to compare. We do get some nice bonus features in here. From what I can tell, these are mostly like older recycled features from the DVD and Blu-ray. The 4K disc itself has a commentary with Danny DeVito as well as the theatrical trailer, whereas the Blu-ray disc has some vintage stuff from the DVD and Blu-ray era, including some behind-the-scenes stuff and even Mara Wilson's home movies from behind the scenes, which are quite interesting to watch all these years later. If you're a fan of Matilda, or you just like, family-friendly cinema or adaptations of old children's books in general, I think you'll be pretty happy with this film, and Sony's package here does not fail to please. Fans of the film will certainly like what they've done for the 4K release of the movie. Are you a fan of Matilda? Would you say this is your favorite adaptation of a Roald Dahl story? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content. I'm always posting new videos, and make sure you give this one a like if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. I'll see you next time.